Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, so let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet here from Financial Juice. And we do see Moody's, the Fed and other central banks may hold emergency meetings to provide guidance and prevent panic. Basically, when I see these announcements, what I really read is, hey, the Fed and other central banks are going to hold an emergency meeting to distract the public and help make them believe that the financial system and the banking system is all good. It's all fine. Don't withdraw your money. Keep your money in the bank just so that the ship continues to sink while your money goes with it. Like, we continue to see the retail sector continue to hurt because of them believing and following the mainstream media. This is not a good picture at all. Trust me, we've been focused on this for a while now. And recently, the recent events around the banking system have really painted the picture clearer than ever before. The banking system and the financial system as a whole is in danger. And I want you all to realize this. Now, also, we did see this update as well. And I love to see this. I love to see crypto and DeFi, etc., to be targeted, and it's trying to, how should I put this, right? Mainstream media and the big names like the U.S. Treasury Department, for example, they're trying to skew the picture around crypto and DeFi in a negative way. And how could they do this? Well, hey, we blame names like North Korea or even Russia as players utilizing DeFi and crypto for illegal activity or illicit use. Here we have Justin, the U.S. Treasury Department, to release risk assessment on potential use of decentralized finance for illicit activities. Elizabeth Rosenberg of the department cited example of North Korea affiliated groups using ransomware and virtual assets to fund illegal programs. Now, let's take a step back real quick. What is DeFi doing differently than traditional finance? Okay, it's cutting out middlemen, it's cutting out control. So think about this like this. Why are they citing it like this? Why can't, for example, North Korean affiliated groups utilize fiat currencies to fund these illegal programs? Oh, yeah, that's right, they can. In fact, why wouldn't they just utilize fiat currency in hand to do this? Not trackable, it's not traceable. But, oh, no, they're going to turn to DeFi immediately. Because DeFi's this new age technology and it allows them to hide everything. Like, this is absolute nonsense. And we do see here the U.S. Treasury Department is set to release a risk assessment on the potential use of DeFi for illicit activities. This was announced by the department's Assistant Secretary for Terrorist Financing and Financial Crimes, Elizabeth Rosenberg, at a Monday banking event in Sydney, Australia. Rosenberg explained that criminals are constantly looking for effective ways to hide criminal activity and the laundering of their proceeds, and noted that the threat posed to DeFi services and other elements of the virtual asset ecosystem must be taken seriously. He also highlighted the astounding growth in virtual assets, observing that the industry often fails to prioritize regulations and financial crimes compliance. Oh no, it's not the fact that the industry often fails to prioritize regulations. It's regulators don't want to regulate this asset class. In fact, they just want to control it. They want to continue to target it and attack it. And we just hear the illustration of dangers, to illustrate the dangers of criminal use of virtual assets. Rosenberg cited the example of North Korea affiliated groups that have conducted ransomware attacks, stolen hundreds of millions of dollars worth of virtual assets, and laundered their ill-gotten funds through mixers and other virtual asset service providers to fund North Korea's illegal nuclear and ballistic missiles programs. Like, why wouldn't they be able to do this with fiat currencies? Like, it's crazy that they're making this a huge deal around crypto and DeFi just to target it and skew it in a negative way. They've been doing this for so long. They've been doing it for so long. And what's crazy is we even see over here, breaking news, U.S. prosecutors were investigating Signature Bank's work with crypto clients before regulators suddenly seized the lender this past weekend. Inquiries examined firms' efforts to detect money laundering. Like, it's ridiculous right now. Like, what we are seeing around, like, we're just seeing crypto continue to be focused on and targeted, and their excuses, well, you could utilize crypto to launder money. You could utilize crypto for illicit use. And the last time I checked, fiat currency is widely utilized for illegal activities, buying and selling stolen goods, stolen property, drugs. I mean, how much money is the US government making off of drugs, for example? The drug trade is huge in the US. And yes, the government does make money off of it. I mean, it's ridiculous that we're not saying the same things about fiat currency. Like, imagine if somebody came out with a report tomorrow and said, we're examining the use of fiat currencies for illicit use and illegal activity. Like, would you be surprised? Absolutely not. So why would it be any different with virtual assets or digital currencies? I think it's ridiculous that they continue to skew it like this. And this is just opening the door for them to target crypto, and people support it because they're thinking, well, wow, this is actually a big deal. But most people don't question that fiat currencies could be utilized the same exact way. And we do see over here, billionaire investor Carl Icahn says the system is breaking down and we absolutely have a major problem in our economy today. Yes, this is why we are drifting towards a reset. And this is the problem that I have, right? So they're skewing this negative picture around crypto and digital assets and DeFi, all for them to usher in this reset. And right now we are seeing the reset essentially happen because we are starting to see banks crumble. And once the banks crumble, once the financial system crumbles, guess what comes out of this? The new system, the new economy. This new economy, the problem with this new economy is the fact that it's going to be centered with CBDCs, control, your privacy gone. They're going to control everyday life. And we already have been talking about this. And now we are starting to see this being pushed more and more ever than before, right? Because before we've talked about it, and yeah, it was here and there, but if you go over to, for example, CBDC Tracker, and I just recently talked about this in a video as well where I was discussing CBDCs, like, look at how crazy the updates have been. And back in 2022, we seen 7 pages filled with CBDC research pilots, etc. And now we're 3 months into the year. Okay? 3 months, 1/4 of the year, and we already have a full page of CBDC discussions, plans, etc. And they continue to pile up. I mean, like, just from the 15th alone, FedNow Instant Payment Service, which, yes, we will talk about that in this video as well. But CBDCs should, or I should say, could provide smooth cross-border payments, says Bank of Israel official. They're trying to cut out every single innovation and have the central banks control everything, just like we see within the traditional system. The central banks want to hold on to control. You ever notice how they always push CBDCs and they always throw crypto down the stairs? It's because they don't want crypto to thrive. They will lose way too much money if crypto succeeds. In my opinion, I do want to see crypto succeed. But these bankers, these regulators, they will fight until death against crypto. But just like we see in regulators as well fight the internet, look at where the internet is today. So I do believe that crypto will thrive, but I think that we need to resist these new systems 100% as much as possible. And even if they do become a reality, we need to make sure that we are also positioned in assets that are essentially becoming, key parts of this new system. And we did see over here, like I said, with the FedNow service, we do see Federal Reserve to launch instant payment service FedNow in July. Now, what's interesting about this? Well, a lot of people have tied this back to Ripple for so long. But what's crazy is that I included this in my video from earlier today, but I do think that this is because of what the Bank of Russia is doing with their digital ruble, which is set to launch next month. I think that now the US is starting to take things a little bit more seriously. I think that CBDCs are starting to move so fast, and the new system is, essentially on the brink of going live. So I think that that's why we are starting to see the Federal Reserve act fast with this. And I think that's very interesting to see this continue to be pushed. But if you read this, if you actually open this document, or I shouldn't say document, but this article, and read this fully, it seems as though we are getting prepared for a CBDC announcement within the US. For an example, we do see with the FedNow service, the Federal Reserve is creating a leading edge payment system that is resilient, adaptive, and accessible. The launch reflects an important milestone in the journey to help financial institutions serve customer needs for instant payments to better support nearly every aspect of our economy. And then also, we do see the central bank is continuing to speak with financial institutions and service providers to test the program ahead of its implementation. With the launch drawing near, we urge financial institutions and their industry partners to move full steam ahead with preparations to join the FedNow service. We also do see down here a few things like, for example, Montgomery noted availability of the service is just the beginning, and growing the network of participating financial institutions will be key to increasing the availability of instant payments for consumers and businesses across the country. And then also down here, that starting in the first week of April, the Fed will begin formally certifying banks to launch the service. Early adopters will have to conduct customer testing informed by feedback from the FedNow pilot program to prepare for sending live transactions through the system. Again, this is all. I really do think that this is all to push in the new system, and I do think that we will see CBDCs. For example, down at the bottom, we do see Fed Governor Michelle Bowman said last year that FedNow, which will enable consumers and businesses to send payments instantly, could offer some of the same benefits as a central bank digital currency. I think that this is going to usher in a CBDC. I don't think like this is not going to go against the CBDC. I just think that we will see the Fed embrace this, especially around the CBDC. And we do see analysts say Fed now could also cut demand for payday loans, as consumers won't have to wait for a check to clear for businesses. There could also be an upside for better paying suppliers on time, and businesses could embrace it as a less costly and more certain way to accept consumer payments. So very interesting to see. And it also seems like this is trying to replace what Ripple has already done. I mean, like we do see the Fed maintains making funds immediately available will help Americans living paycheck to paycheck or small businesses with cash flow constraints by avoiding late payment fees and freeing up working capital to finance growth. So very interesting the way that they have fully worded this. And a lot of people do believe that the Federal Reserve is utilizing Ripple technology within the FedNow service. It's really too early to say for certain. In my opinion, I would say no. But a lot of people have tied this back to Ripple. For example, here's March 14th with the announcement of it. And we do see a tweet down here which kind of links Ripple to it. And there's been a lot of discussions within this, but this is basically the tweet from MetaMan_X, and we do see Fed Now. And it seems like they have exposure to Ripple. For example, we do see extensibility to other US payment types, ACH, same day ACH, RTP, Fedwire Fund Service, chips, etc. And then we do see extensibility to traditional cross-border payments, SWIFT, and next generation cross-border payments, Ripple, Visa Direct, Visa B2B, MasterCard Send, and others. So it's interesting. I do think that they will have exposure to Ripple, but I don't think that this is built on Ripple or anything like that. And we do see the FedNow service provider showcases a one-stop resource for connecting financial institutions and businesses with service providers that can help innovate and implement instant payment products using the FedNow service. Then over here, we do see financial institution liquidity transfers, financial institution to financial institution transfers. So again, like a lot of people are trying to connect this back. Is it just, a nothing burger? Who knows, right? But we do know that the FedNow service does have ties to Volante. In fact, Volante is becoming a major leader for the FedNow. And we even see like down here, like FedNow Instant Payment Service launched 2023. It will be here soon. It will enable individuals and businesses to send and receive account-to-account instant payments 24/7, 365, and will be available to all depository institutions in the U.S. by 2023. How should financial institutions respond? FedNow is an outstanding opportunity to bring compelling new instant payment services to market. And again, like this is going to be happening right now. And Volante offers the fastest path to evolve your business with FedNow. We processed the first ever US RTP transaction, and today more US real-time payments are powered by Volante than any other provider. With our cloud-native FedNow service, you could be transacting in a matter of weeks, so you could focus on building customer-centric services fast. No core updates needed. And yeah, they are a big name for them. And also, Volante is working closely with Ripple. We've talked about this in the past, but here's that announcement. Volante Technologies launches first unified service for FedNow and TCH RTP. This goes all the way back to March 2nd, 2022. And then over here, for example, this goes back to August 29th last year. Breaking today, Federal Reserve announces FedNow Instant Payment Service full-scale launch date, which was obviously April. And we do see faster payments task force steering committee members. Again, a tie to Ripple, yet again with Ryan Zagone, which is from Ripple Labs. And again, a lot of people were tying this right back to Ripple. For example, here we have, proud to share I've been selected as Vice Chair, U.S. Faster Payments Council for cross-border payments, investigating CBDCs and the best-in-class technologies to make them possible. Some big industry players, including Ripple, involved. More to come. Like I said, I think that this FedNow service, by the way, is just going to be the, the tracks for CBDC system. But also down here, a United States CBDC may have the potential to support efficient and low-cost transactions, particularly for cross-border funds, transfers, and payments. White House, XRP is ahead of the curve again. Again, a lot of people are just trying to tie it back to XRP. In my opinion, it's hard to say it, right? Like, I don't believe that XRP is going to be the main focus point here, but I would love to be wrong. I would love to see XRP being utilized here, but I just think that we have exposure to Ripple. There's a ton of partners with Volante. Like I've said, a lot of like the major ones out there, like a Center, for an example. But Ripple is also working with them. Like if you go to their website and you type in Ripple, for an example, you could see that they do have a Volpay hub with Ripple integration. This launched back in October of 2015. But there's also been a lot of updates within this. We even see like Ripple Visa B2B, Swift GPI, Crypto CBDCs, a guide for the perplexed, and you could read all about this. Where there is exposure to Ripple, and they even do break down the Ripple system. I just don't know if Ripple is going to be 100% utilized within this. I think that it is going to be an exposure through extensibility. Again, like this is what we are mainly seeing from the FedNow service. There's nothing really else to tie back to the FedNow service with Ripple. We've talked about it in the past. We've discussed it. I think that it would be in their best interest to utilize Ripple Tech just because I think that it's the best in its class. I think that on-demand liquidity is such a massive, undervalued, and overlooked use case. But hey, we don't know what's going to happen. The only thing that we could do is just wait. But again, there's been a lot of discussions with Ripple tied back to it. A lot of, again, we really look at exposure. It is exposed to Ripple. Ripple is tied to it. Is it going to be utilized all the time, every single day, every single second? Not exactly, but it does have exposure, which means customers utilizing the FedNow service could technically tap in and utilize Ripple Tech. But with all of that in mind, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night. If you guys are on this before, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.